Here is a Philips light bulb. This is a rather unusual bulb which I've never personally seen before. This is the Philips R30 flood. It has a 15 watts Marathon CFL within it. 15 watt CFLs typically are claimed to have the brightness equivalent to a 60 to 75 watts incandescent bulb. This was made in Mexico, which I didn't know this until more recently. Apparently Mexico does very good quality manufacturing, and these bulbs are consistent with that. These earlier Marathon CFLs were very good equipment. I have quite a few Marathon Circline bulbs that I use around the house, and some of them have been in service for quite some time, despite being new old stock where they sat unused for who knows how many years. They're all still working perfectly fine. So this comes apart. Now I don't know, it says Universal on the bottom. I don't know if that means it's a universal fit in the sense that there's different types of these cases that it can go in. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody who's more familiar with this product at this time could provide some insight. That's going to be my guess. I suspect that this was something that you could buy, this bulb you could buy, and you would keep this and you would just stick new bulbs in there, and maybe there were different ones of these available, different flood sizes. So this is just a plastic lens, more or less. So this is the bulb itself. It must be high hours because it's got a lot of blackening on the tube at the top, which is kind of odd. Yeah, the coating is definitely starting to wear off in some spots too. This is a very small bulb. I remember my grandfather had a bunch of these, I guess back in the 2000s, probably early 2000s, and he would use them in the three-way lamps. I don't remember if they were three-way bulbs or not. I know I have one of them somewhere. I have to dig out that box of bulbs and show some of those bulbs on video. I would say that those bulbs were about twice the size of this one, at least in height. It was the same configuration with the three tubes in this shape. Not for use with dimmers. It says something about dimmers on here. Use dimmable 20 watt or Universal SLS 15 and 20 as replacement lamp only. Okay, so that confirms my theory. For replacement purposes, remove the lamp from the reflector. So this was definitely something that you would buy. There's the SLS number. So then there must have been a 20 watt version of this as well, most likely, because this is SLS 15. Alright, so that confirmed my theory. This is that is how this would work. This, you would keep this part and then you would buy this to replace it. Now I suspect that these did not last very long. Not because it's a bad quality bulb, but because this is a terrible use case for a CFL. Most of the time this type of bulb is installed either in like a spotlight, like track lighting was popular when these were popular, so it could have been installed in a track light, or it could have been installed in recessed ceiling lighting. The recessed ceiling lighting is probably the worst because it sets the bulb like this, and so all the heat from the tube goes right onto the ballast and it's contained at the top, which is not good. And plus you take this and you put this on here. Although most of the ballast is still outside of here, this is now taking all this heat and containing it, so the tube's going to run hotter, this is going to run hotter. And then if you put this inside either a recessed ceiling can or a spotlight for a track lighting, you're going to further contain all the heat. So this is, it's a cool concept, but in execution it probably didn't work that good. or not so much in execution, but in reality, it just didn't work that good. There's no way to execute this properly, this type of form factor. It doesn't work with a self-ballasted bulb. It's just not a good idea. Now you can see here the plastic on the top is yellowed severely, whereas the plastic down here is not. So all that heat was definitely being contained up against the top of the ballast. Is this showing up on the video? There we go. Now you can see the yellowing. So you can clearly see where the yellowing stops. So all that heat from the tube was being kept on the ballast. This probably ran absolutely scalding hot, which is just not a setup for success. So let's go ahead and put this into our testing fixture here. Plug this in. We have 118.4 the volts right now. We'll go over to the watts. Let's see if this even works still. It's taken 5.6 watts. Huh, so I guess that was not an isolated case. A couple of days ago, the CFL in the back door light failed, and when I was trying to unscrew it from the thing, when I would touch it, it would kind of ignite a little bit like we're seeing here. I've never, oh gosh, I've never had that happen before. But I guess maybe that's common. Well, now it's drawing 0 watts, so I guess that's the end of it. Now we saw it fail safely, which is nice. A lot of newer ones would have, you know, let out the magic smoke and everything. Well, that's disappointing. This is never going to be able to be tested because it's spoiled. Yeah, it's already a little bit warm. That's too bad. We'll keep it because it's a cool bulb just to have on a display piece or something somewhere. But between the design of this and the use case of it likely being ballast up or in some other kind of slightly or fully enclosed fixture, the bulb likely failed well before the probably 10,000 hour lifespan that it would have had.